Hello everyone. I'm going to see if this is going to load properly, and hopefully my voice isn't too muffled. There we go. And it's going, seems to be doing okay, looks like. Okay. Okay, hopefully you can hear me okay. I am in kind of a cavernous room, so if you hear an echo, that's why. If you didn't know, as some of you may have not, I recently moved to Richmond, Virginia. That's why I changed our little location, not only to Colorado, but to Richmond, Virginia. Colorado people, if you need help with anything, I mean, you can still ask questions, that's totally fine. But Aurora is going to be your local person. Virginia people, I am now in Virginia, and so I can help out over here. And 2 low FPS per usual. Hopefully this is okay. I'm going to show you how to make, because I just moved, I'm going to show you how to make a home protection Gris. I am going to be basically cleansing, protecting, and charging up my house. And I'll be kind of going through different steps about how I do that. I know this is something that a lot of people are interested in, and it's something that, we've kind of had in the works for a while. Unfortunately, when I've moved before, I've been in school as well, so it's been really difficult to, film and keep up with things and go to school, especially when you're just getting back into the rhythm of things, especially with COVID. It's been really chaotic. So hopefully I can now get back into the swing of things and really start posting more. Um, and so this is what I made last night. I actually made this little bag, and how I did it was just spare cloth. This is cotton cloth that I generally use for making prayer ties when I go to, and I know I'm kind of out of the frame. This is what I use to make prayer ties when I go to sweat lodge. I don't know of any sweat lodges around here, so I'll have to wait and see if I can find any, but this is something that, a cloth that I just had lying around. It is red. Red is a good protective color, at least in my correspondences, my personal correspondences. If you have extra cloth, regardless of the color, use it. An old sock, use it. Um, the problem with socks is that because they are kind of knitted, stuff like powders may fall through. That is something to keep in mind. Even with this, powders may still fall through. So that is something to keep in mind. The tie that I put on is just a red silk tie. I made 3 knots on each end, and I have rosewood for the little beads. And it is a drawstring bag, so it will close. Um, and I just used white thread because that's what I had. Now, a lot of these herbs are kitchen herbs. You can use whatever you have on hand. Do not be afraid to just reach into your pantry. Um, some of them are not necessarily pantry herbs, it's just basically what I had at hand, and I highly recommend that you use the stuff that you have at hand. Go outside, look for stones, look for quartz. Quartz is one of the most available stones that we have. Most stones that you will find will have some quartz in them. You can use that. Totally fine. Go outside. Look at look at the trees that you have around you. Look at the flowers that you have around you. Find things that are local to you and use them. Learn about them. I'm still really new here. We just moved. I haven't had the time to really explore that much. But I know that we have holly around. I haven't gathered any holly yet, but we have holly around. My neighbor grows some rosemary. I might go, pluck a few or ask to pluck a few. And that's something that you can do. Really learn about your environment. You don't have to spend very much money on your practice at all. And I really want to try and focus on moving away from spending so much money, and teaching people to spend money and kind of, assisting in that kind of ideology within our practice. But use what works for you, use what you have, learn more about your own practice, what resonates with you. So, I have an incense here. This is what I'm going to be charging everything with and cleansing everything with. And then I have this bowl. I'm going to be mixing everything into this bowl, and this is just one of my kitchen bowls. That's it. So I'll do one of these bowls. I have some stones here. With my Gris, I usually do stones and herbs. I also do a lot of paper magic as far as like making lists and things. So I may go back later and write down a list. The beautiful thing about having a drawstring bag is that you can do that. You can kind of open it and close it at will. And that's why I made it this way. You can definitely sew it shut afterwards. You can do whatever you need to do. Make it work for you. I intend to be placing this on one of my windowsills. So I don't necessarily need it to hang, but if you wanted it to hang, you definitely could. Um, and remember, if this falls and touches the ground, it's done. It's done its work, no more. You can always remake it. You can always take the stones out of it. I wouldn't necessarily reuse the herbs, but take the stones out of it, cleanse the stones, reuse them. So, that said, let's begin. I do have some resins here as well. And these are just beads that I had available. So this is a jasper. This one, even though it's very clear, it's a smoky quartz. This one is a little piece of amber. This one is a rose quartz. I have a little piece of tiger's eye. And a little piece of amber. I have this clear quartz. And I have a little piece of labradorite. And it doesn't necessarily take much. I generally tend to be quality over quantity. These stones are just as powerful as big stones. You don't have to do anything, crazy huge for something like this. Just make it work for you. And again, look outside. Look for stones outside. There are so many quartz crystals that you can find just laying around. Sometimes you can even find things like rose quartz or smoky quartz. They can be really prevalent because most stones have quartz in it. So, I'm going to start with the rose quartz. This is for self-love, love, harmony. And the beautiful thing about stones and herbs is that they have their own vibrations. They have their own predispositions towards energy. So I can state my intent. I want a loving home. I want a harmonious home. I want things to be peaceful within my home. And automatically that's going to resonate with the natural energies, natural frequencies of this stone. So it doesn't take much to actually charge them and make their, kind of align their intent with yours. And jasper is a really great stone, as you'll see from the guides, the stone guides. It's a great stone for protection. It's a great stone for grounding. So I want my home to be grounded. I want everything to be stable. I want good, stable protection. Smoky quartz is an amazing cleanser. It helps keep everything cleansed and charged. Takes away any and all negativity. Amber is an amazing solar gem. It is so good for empowering things, so good for amplifying energy. I really like using it in here because it can really help with keeping that bag charged. Clear quartz will amplify energies as well. It's really good. So I want a good, stable home. I want clean energy. I want purification. I want calm, and I want loving energy in this home. So really state those intentions. And amberite again. Labradorite to protect us from any and all harm. Help seals the house, helps heal your own energies, helps protect from any and all negativity coming in. Tiger's Eye is a great protective stone. It's also very grounding. So again, that grounded, stable, protected energy is what I want. Okay, now we can go on to the herbs. Let's see, I guess I'll start here. So this is pinyon resin. This is very cleansing and protective. I also really love the scent. I wildcrafted this from the forest at home. So I'm going to add that to my bag. Now this is kind of a weird one, kind of a more elusive one. This is Devil's Shoestring. I got this in Denver. You can definitely find it online. You don't have to have it, but it is a nice one. I do enjoy having it and putting it in my bags. The beautiful thing is that you can break it, so little pieces can be added. Double shoestring is a great herb because it basically ties the double shoestrings, is what the saying is. And basically it makes it so that any negativity kind of gets bound up in itself and it can't go anywhere. So that's a really good herb to have. Rose petals are always nice. Any kind of flower is really nice in this. These are Bulgarian roses, and I generally use them for my incense. They have a very nice scent to them. These are great for love, also roses are amazing for protection. Think about how a rose protects itself. It has these big thorns. So roses are amazing for protection. They're great for loving energy, and I really love using them in any kind of bag that's good for like house protection or car protection, or even personal protection. It's really good. I love using flowers in these kind of bags. They have a really nice, uplifting, pure energy. Lavender would be a great one if you have it available. I couldn't find my lavender, so I did not use it. This is rosemary. Rosemary is a great protector, particularly of women. And so I always like to hold it, warm it, thank it for its, all of these herbs, they sacrifice their life and they've been dried. And so I really like to thank them for their sacrifice. And it helps attune your energy with them. These are chilies, and I especially like using chilies in my magic, particularly for protection and home protection. One, because, chilies are very, very protective because they are spicy. How does that plant protect itself? With its capsaicin. And so that's a really good one. Also because they make a great rattling noise. They're red, that's very protective. And I just really enjoy using them in protective magic. That's something that I generally got from Juan when we worked all those years together. So I like adding them. This is garlic, just dried little garlic shavings. And I like using garlic. It's very healthful, can be protective. I have a theory that sulfur actually, kind of draws in negative energy and kind of sucks it up so it can't hurt anyone. And so also it is very protective with like your health, with disease, so it's a nice one to add. Turmeric is also a great protective herb. Mint would be a great one in this. And so I like to add a little bit of either. It can dispel negative magic. It also absorbs negative magic and negativity. Um, gold or yellow is a very prosperous and protective color in a lot of cultures, so that's something to think about. This is another one that's going to be a little bit strange. It's galangal. I have the powdered form, but you can definitely get it whole and root, or you can get dried. I've had both. It is kind of woody and spicy. Ginger would be a great substitute for this one if you don't have it. And again, you don't have to use any of these herbs. These are just what I'm using. Galangal is a great one for love. It's a great one for protection. We'll use it a lot in cleansing. Now I'm going to do black sesame seed. This is a great one for nurturing and harmony. It's also very grounding. It's very protective because of the black color. I'm adding a little bit of saffron, and again, you definitely don't have to use any of the herbs that I'm using, but I like saffron for these kind of bags. You don't need much, just a little bit. Again, quality over quantity. If you like that much. And this is for prosperity and protection. Saffron is the most expensive spice in the world, and so it is a very good one for prosperity, for wealth, and that's why I like adding it to these kind of bags. I'm going to do the bay leaf, maybe a couple. Bay leaf is incredibly cleansing. It's very good for protection. You can use it a lot for prosperity work, and basically bringing in good energy and good luck. So I like using them. And this is going to be cinnamon. This is true cinnamon. You could definitely use cassius, which is the big, thick cinnamon bark. It's actually a root. This is the true bark of the cinnamonum tree. You can find this in most Hispanic or Latino markets. You can also find it in some Asian markets. Cinnamon is a great protector. It is very cleansing. It's one of those that's always really, it has kind of a bright, uplifting energy, and so I really like using it. Then we have nutmeg. I love nutmeg. I love nutmeg so much. Nutmeg is very good for protection. It's also great for love magic. Great for creating harmony. Great for relaxation. Great for just instilling calmness and protection. It's a really nice one. Then we have cloves. Cloves are another of my favorite herbs. I really like them. And I'm going to add 9. Good protective number, 3 by 3. And I'm also going to add some fennel seed. Fennel seed is very sweetening. It's good. It's used a lot in Asian dishes. It's a very sweet kind of anise kind of flavor. And it's a really nice one for bringing harmony and sweetness into the home. Good communication. And then black pepper. Black pepper is always nice because it's also very protective. It's cleansing. It can help protect against illness. So that's a great one to add. And I'm using the whole black peppercorns. If you need to, you can definitely use ground. That's fine. I'm going to use thyme. Thyme is a great herb because it is very cleansing. It's very protective. And it also helps ward against disease. So that's kind of what this bag is going to be for, not only for protecting against negative energy, but also protecting against disease. And I am going to add a little bit of ginger because I really enjoy ginger in protection bags or protection bottles. I like having it around. I do have a big bag of it somewhere, but it is kind of packed away still. And so, just mix these, put your energy into them, state your intent, thank them for their service, because they are doing a big service. And Gris don't have to smell good. That's not really the point of them. They're not like a pomander or a posy or anything like that. They're really just to protect the house. They're just protection bags or magic bags. Um, the incense I'm using, if I didn't state it before, is patchouli. I really like patchouli. It's very grounding. I like it because it is a very kind of nostalgic scent. I did grow up kind of around hippies. So I really like patchouli. I think it's a wonderful herb. It's one that I don't use as much as I probably should. It's great for love magic. It's great for grounding energy. It can be very protective. So that is something to think about. But it's up to you. Use what you have on hand. Any incense will work. What you need really is the smoke. And basically what you're going to do is charge up the bag with your intent, charge it up with your energy, and then also cleanse it and charge it with the incense smoke. You can also kind of do this with oils. You can do it with like asperge or some water. It really all depends on what you want and what you have available to you. Okay, and there's our bag. It's pretty full. And so the way I like to close these is by doing like 9 knots, which sounds like a lot, and it kind of is. But I really like that. I find it works really well. I kind of will do a securing knot first. And there are definitely, spells that you can say during this. Like, 1, my spell is done. 2, let my spell come true, etc. But you can also just talk it out, speak from the heart. I like to wrap my bags, the very top of my bags, with the cord, and basically just going down and around while leaving enough of an end that it can be secured. And I like the beads because they can make it a lot easier, particularly if your hands are having some issues. And if you can't get quite 9 knots, that's okay too. It's a little stuck. So, something like that. Really simple, really easy. You definitely don't have to sew your own bag. You can get one from the store. Any kind of drawstring bag. I do really like the drawstring only because it's very easy to do. It's easy to open and close. If you need to come back to this and like recharge it or do anything with it, it's very easy to open. But again, you could just sew it shut. You could just tie it shut and leave it, and then just make a new bag when you need a new one. It really all depends on you. And so I like to kind of cleanse it. Calendula would be a great one for this kind of bag. Angelica, if you have it, fumitory, anything like that. Even then, a big clove of garlic would be great. And now we can set our intention. and you should feel the bag grow warm in your hands. Um, if you're very new to energy manipulation, try thinking about, a lot of people will say, your dominant hand is your projective hand, your non-dominant hand is the receptive hand. And a lot of people like to think about it in polarity like that. Um, I find that both hands can do both. Um, but I also tend to be a little bit ambidextrous, so that might be why. So it really all depends. Use what works best for you. Think about it, how it makes sense to you. But for me, I just think about putting energy and pushing it into the bag. You can think about it running down your arm. You can think about it running into your fingertips. And just kind of like, a lot of people, like, there's this exercise where you can feel your own energy, and basically you rub your hands pretty vigorously, and then you can like feel kind of a vortex or a ball of energy in between your hands. And that's how a lot of people learn how to manipulate energy. So when I think about it, I think about that energy, and I think about how my energy feels to me and how it works for me. And so when I think about it, I just think about pushing from my core into the bag, and I don't necessarily run it down my arms or anything, but I know that it's channeled, and I know that I'm putting it into the bag because like my bag's right in front of me, and that's what works for me. Um, but if you need to, think about it as like running through your arms. Feel that kind of vortex, that ball of energy, kind of instill that energy into the bag. All the while, keeping in focus your intent, making sure that you're stating to yourself, this is going to, and speak in, present tense, this is protecting my home is protected, my home is safe from all harm, both physical and metaphysical, my home is a safe place for me and my family, my home is protected, my home is cleansed, my home is purified, my home is a safe place. And just keep repeating that kind of intent to yourself and to the bag over and over again. And you should start to feel the bag warm up. In your mind's eye, if you're a very visual person, you can think about glowing light going into the bag, and your bag kind of radiating this glowing light. You can use your breath and breathe that energy and that intent into your bag. And do that as many times as you need. Take as much time as you need. This isn't a race. Don't worry about how much time it takes. Do whatever it takes to make sure that your bag is charged. Now, when this bag is charged, every once in a while you are going to have to take it down and cleanse it and purify it. It's just the way of it. A lot of times, like crystal grids and Gris and amulets, they're not going to last forever. The way to extend their life is by cleansing them and making sure that that energy is running through them. Again, energy is not meant to be stagnant. It's not meant to, be held in one place. Just like water, it needs to flow. So just like within ourselves, we need to be grounding, we need to be calling in other energy, we are constantly eating and expelling energy. That energy needs to move, it needs to travel, it needs to convert. This bag, charms, amulets, etc., they also need energy to be flowing through them. At least once a week, take it down, cleanse it, ground that energy. You could put it in like a potted plant. You could put it in like underneath the moon. This is going to be in a windowsill, so it's always going to be getting solar and lunar energy. But make sure that you are taking care of this bag and feeding it. Feeding it is just another way of saying putting energy into it, making sure that your intent is realigned, making sure that the herbs know what they're doing. Herbs are they resonate with a certain frequency. What we're doing is working with that frequency. But because we intended for a certain frequency and not necessarily like love magic, though in a way we are, because we want our homes to be loving, so we are drawing in that loving, attractive energy. But we are also doing primarily production magic and working with that kind of energy making sure that, everything is aligned with that specific intent. Grounding, making sure that any negativity that's in this bag is going into the ground, is being, dispersed, negated, and going away. Because if this bag gets too full, it's going to fall off. It's going to, or you have a stone that has taken in too much energy, it needs to be cleansed, or it'll just break. Um, it happens. It happens a lot. So keep that in mind. Um, some people would say sleep with this under your pillow for like 2 weeks. You definitely could do that. That's totally fine. That can really help with intent. But I don't necessarily find that for at least for this doesn't need to happen. If you were doing it for love magic or personal protection or anything like that, I would say definitely keep it on you. But this is for house protection. I'm protecting my whole house, not just with this little bag, but with several other different charms, and I'll be showing you those in a couple of other videos. Um, but this is to protect my house, so as long as it's in the house, I'm not too worried. And I think that's all I really had for you. If you have any questions, make sure to drop a comment. If you've done this before and you have some herbs that you like to work with, I'd love to hear about that. I'd love to hear about your experience with this. Um, yeah, so that's basically all I had, and hopefully I'll have more coming soon. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad. I know I'm working with my old computer, so things may be a little bit less, vibrant or less, clear, and we'll see how that goes. I've been dealing with some computer issues, so alright, I think that's all I had for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye. And